Welcome back to KTN Life and Style. It's all about relationships every single Wednesday. We've had mandate and you've seen expectations. You need to speak about them. Right about now, though, it's all about Nisamehe, forgiveness. We've got a very moving story in studio today, and we're going to be listening about a story about a lady who had the heart to forgive something that was done to her by a very, very close relative. Pastor Chris, this is going to be an emotional roller coaster. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am. You know, whenever it comes to matters of forgiveness,
Yes.
not very easy to listen. Sometimes you put yourself in the place where the other person was when they've been wounded, when they were wounded, rather, and then you go through the emotions with them. We have Helen Mumbwa. Helen was falsely accused a few years ago of having murdered, being in possession of weapons. She was supposed to have stolen, robbery with violence, quite a number of things. Helen, welcome to Nisamehe.
Thank you for having me.
Right. You have a moving story because you were accused of all of these things and relating with somebody who was a thug.
Oh, yeah. It happened that, of course, nobody want to imagine that someday you can be accused of something that you've not committed. But then it happened that it was a Thursday night. I was at home in my house, and I was plaiting my younger sister. I was making her hair. And there was a loud bang at my door. And I thought, could those be thieves? Then I checked the time, and it was just a few minutes past 9. Then I lowered the volume of my TV, and the voice from outside said, we want that television, and we want that DVD. And there was another loud bang. So I opened the door. I said to myself, if they are thieves, let me open. They take what they want to take, and then they leave me in my peace. So I opened the door, and there were policemen. And they were, I can't tell how many they were. There were many. They were just entering. And my house is small. At the time, I was living in Kawangware.
Had you had any, up until this time, had you had any brush with the law?
No.
All right.
No, yeah. So when they entered, one policeman was very harsh with me, and he said, you murdered somebody in satellite and you killed. That's where you got this television from and this DVD. Give us the receipts. Luckily, I knew what they were, so I just picked them and I handed them over. And then he started searching my house, and then there were other policemen, and there were many, so I could see some just peeping from outside, and then they would just go.
At this point, Helen, before you move on, is what's happening to you? Because now you realize they're not thieves. These are policemen. And they've come in, and you are being accused of murder. At this point, what's going on?
Okay, at that very particular moment, I started crying out, and I said, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. And those were the only words that kept coming out of my lips. I said, Jesus, help me. And then there was searching my house. And then there was one particular policeman who was just coolly sat on the couch. And the other policeman was very harsh. He said to him, no, it's your turn to search. Then he said, no, there's nothing to search here. But he said, Helen, we're taking you with us, with the television and the DVD, and the car is outside, and I'm so frightened, and I'm crying, and I don't know what to do. And my sister is also stranded, you know. And there was a friend of mine, also a girlfriend, who was also in the house.
So you were 3 of you in the house?
We were 3 of us in the house. So I asked this policeman who was seated, I asked him, I said to him, can I ask you something? And he said yes. Then I said to him, you guys, you normally know bad people. Have you ever seen me anywhere? And he said no. But then the very particular policeman I'm saying was so harsh with me. He said, we're taking you with us. But then this policeman said, no, let me talk with him. So he called him. They went outside and talked with some other policemen. When he came back, he said to me, we will not take you with us now, but tomorrow at 9, you have to report to Muthangari police station. So
did you think, because you're dealing with, you're already being accused that you killed somebody, and so you've been left in the house. So who do you call, or who did you call?
Of course, I called my mom. I told her. I called my pastor. My pastor, we just prayed, but what a long night. Of course, I couldn't sleep. I was sweating, I was so terrified. Oh God, it was a nightmare. And morning came, and it was the longest night actually. Then morning came. But you see, this thing of you killed somebody, it had not really clicked in my head. But that one of the television I stole, now I knew I was being accused of stealing a television and a DVD. And I knew that I had bought them in Luthuli Avenue. So I had the receipt, so I felt like, okay. Anyway, I wasn't understanding. All the time I went to Muthangari at 9 with my mom. And when we got there, the OCS, I said to him, my name is Helen, I was told to report here at 9. And he looked at me and he said, Umeokoka. Then I was like, yeah. Then he said, okay, go back and come at 4. So I went home, of course. I had a very long day. I cried all day.
Weren't you finding that to be a bit strange? Because murder is capital offense. So if you're being accused of killing, weren't you finding it a bit strange that people will say you killed, but we want you to report tomorrow?
Trust me, I was so confused. My mind wasn't really working so well. I was so confused. And like I said, you see this murder word, it hadn't really kicked in my head so much. So I went home. Actually, I went to church. So at 4, I came back. I came with my mom. Then I was told, Toaki, you have to remove your shoe, give your phone, your money, anything you have, any belongings, just give them away. And I was locked in. And when I was locked in, of course, I was confused. When I was there, I remember telling myself, whoever is behind this, I don't know who it is, but I forgive them. I kept on saying, God, I forgive them, and I thank you for this. As difficult as it was, lying on the cold floor, and I used to ask myself questions. I would ask God, did you give me ministry? I also do gospel music. But then I would ask myself, I would ask God, did you give me ministry, and then you bring me to lie down on this cold floor? And I longed for death. I never wanted to see the new day. And you know those walls I saw.
That was at Muthangari still?
That was at Muthangari. And but in Muthangari, I was there, yes. Friends could come visit me. But I couldn't help cry and wonder and ask why and long for death, because I couldn't understand.
While you were there, incarcerated, what was happening? What were the police saying? What were they telling you?
What happened I think after 3 days, the very policeman who was very tough on me, he called me one evening and he said to me, I called you here to apologize and to tell you that I am sorry because we arrested you and we know that you did not commit those crimes. Because it was not only murder. The crimes were quite a list. They said I had a weapon, that I had fake money and a machine to make fake money. I think that is why the policeman was searching my house. But while I was there, I did not know all that. I found out later when I was released. That's when I found out that it was quite a number of accusations, and surely.
So you were being accused of murder?
Murder.
You're being accused of having a weapon?
Yes.
You're being accused of processing fake money, having a machine?
Yes, in my house, and they said I was married to a thief at the time. They said I was married to a thief, so
Were you
together,
married to anybody?
I wasn't married to anybody, and I remember asking the very policeman who said to me that I forgive him. I remember asking him, when you were searching my house, did you find even one item that shows that it belongs to a man? And he said, no, and just forgive me. And another policeman also said to me, there is no case, we know you're innocent. But the question was, then how am I going to get out of here? Then I was taken out to Limani, Nairobi area, for further questioning. But while I was in Muthangari, together with the other inmates, I can say that like I said, I used to say, God, I forgive whoever is behind this. And I thank you, God. I used to say, I didn't even know. I don't know why I got the strength to say, God, thank you for this, as much as it hurts. And I would tell the other inmates, let us pray, let us sing. And we would sing and we would worship God.
Now, Helen, I am in prison. The policemen who have arrested me have just confessed to me
Yes.
that the charges are trumped up.
Yes.
Naturally, I'm thinking I would begin to use that to try and find my freedom.
Trust me, I did not know what to do. But there was a close friend of ours who is a CID, but we did not know at the time. So when he heard that I was arrested, he also stepped in and came and I think he faced the OCS and those CIDs, he faced them and asked them. So it's been charged that Helen has committed this crime, so where is the evidence? And he was told there's no evidence, of course. But still they had to take me to Nairobi area for the questioning. And then the CIDs there, they were so harsh. They would call me in the morning and question me. They would say, you killed somebody, you're hiding a thief in your house. And I would cry and I would say, of course, no. But then they would tell me, we're going to take you now to Langata prisons if you're not telling us the truth. And of course,
At the point
confused.
of interrogations, was there any torture?
I wasn't tortured. Only my mind was tortured.
Only your mind
Only
was
my
tortured.
mind was tortured. And when I went to Kilimani, there was a little girl, she was underage. She told me she was in class 6. So when I met her, I found her there, and she was my friend at the time. And I used to talk to her time to time, and I would ask her, do you think I will ever come out of this place? And she would tell me, let us pray and sing your song and you will be free. Well,
So you're moving to Kilimani.
yeah, now I was taken to Kilimani, of course.
How long did you take at Mudangari?
Muthangari, I stayed there for 4 days.
4 days.
And Kilimani, I stayed for 3 days, but 3 long days. Wow. But like I said, that lady, it was a close relative of mine. That's what I came to find out, that she was the one behind all this. I cannot really tell why she hated me.
You were set up by a close relative?
Yes, I was set up by a close relative. Actually, I used to call her, or I'd call her auntie. This is the kind of a person who would come home and say, hi, my daughter, how are you? But in her heart, I think it was full of hate. She hated me for a reason I do not know.
You never got to, you can't even think of why, because even if somebody does hate you or have issues against you, the charges that were put on you were quite heavy.
They were so heavy.
Had you had your own differences with your
her? No. We lived together, actually. And then the time I told her that I want to move out, we were sharing a bigger house, and I told her that I want to move out. I remember her telling me that the person who is inciting me to move out, that God is going to punish that person. So according to what I came to find out later, that she was the one behind all this, I think she was, maybe there's something else that I might have done to her, but I cannot, I don't know, I can't tell. Wow, this was too much, but I still forgive.
You still forgave?
I choose to forgive. I chose to forgive back then. It was so traumatizing. But even today, I forgive again. And I thank God for freedom.
If you were Helen, would you forgive? I want you to write that back to me and put the hashtag KTN Life and Style. Would you forgive somebody who sets you up and they're a close relative and they would put up all those charges against you? So where were you finding the strength, Helen? Because I don't know whether I would forgive somebody for saying I was married to a thief, forget about having murdered anybody.
I draw my strength, or rather, I was drawing my strength from God. Like I said, I used to long for death. And I would look at those walls and they're so high. And then the window is up there. And I would wish I'd remove my jump or something and reach there and commit suicide. But at the time death ran away from me. But God was my strength.
What exactly was the turning point? Because here you are and you want to commit suicide.
Yes,
And
I'm thinking, if I can die, then who will they ask tomorrow? Who will this come to face tomorrow if I die? I was thinking that I'll be free.
so what was the turning point for you?
Well, like I said, okay, there's one particular morning we sang a lot. And there's a lady who went to the OCS office. When she came back, she told me, the OCS said that today somebody has touched God. So even the OCS heard our singing. And the inmates would call me after food, especially in the evening, and they would tell me, Helen, lead us with the worship. So we would sing and we would pray. I would lead them in prayer. Let me just say, I drew my strength from God. And like I used to remind also myself that he who began the good works in me is faithful, and he would fight for me and stand with me till the end, even though I'll be lying on the cold floor with no blanket, with no nothing. And then there would still be another voice asking me, how am I gonna get out of here? But I would tell myself constantly that he who began the good works in me is faithful.
There is usually something that happens with accusations. Whether they are false or they are true, accusations have a way of changing how people perceive you.
Yeah.
So did you have to deal with that with other people who had your story and some thinking that, yeah, probably you could have done what was said that you did?
I am a hairdresser and I do mobile hairdressing. So when I was released, I still got to go to my clients' houses. They were still calling me, and I would share the story. I was open enough to share my story and tell them I was away, or while you called, I was behind bars because of ABCD.
You did not lose any? You didn't lose any
No,
of your
no, no,
clients?
no, 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 no.
No friends were lost?
I
Family
did not
didn't
lose.
change on you?
No, nothing. Yeah. So today, like I said, I thank God for freedom. Freedom to be here, freedom to wake up from my bed, freedom to go wherever I want to go, out and about. I'm telling you, sometimes we take for granted our freedom, but it is very, very important.
So if you were to, or rather, have you met with your auntie from that point? Have you proved that she's the one who set you up?
We've never met since that time till today. And even if I were to meet with her, I would tell her, I gave you love, but you chose to slap me. But I forgave you, and I still forgive you again.
So what was the most painful thing? I'm going to come back to the issue of your auntie because sometimes people think that they have forgiven until they come face to face either with the person or the place that something happened. But, you know, so how do you get out from the place of you've got this pain? What is the most painful thing that you had to deal with in the whole of this, if you were to sum it up?
The most painful thing was lack of freedom. Lack of freedom to go.
Not the betrayal?
Trust me, I would be there, but I would be like, when will I ever be out of this place? To go on with my daily duties or to go to church. I longed to go to church. So I longed to be free to go to church and to go about my daily duties. The betrayal, like I said, I think this was it is only God-given. The first time, that night I was locked in, I remember telling myself, I forgive whoever is behind this. Even though at the time, I wasn't quite sure it was her. But I kept on telling myself over and over again, I forgive whoever is behind this.
So if you met with your aunt right now,
Yeah,
what would you say to her?
I would say to her, I gave you love. I loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved her for real.
You know, because I'm thinking to myself that if somebody has hurt me, my
Yes.
first point of pain would be the person that did it. You know, not just that I was hurt,
Yeah.
but who did it. You were not affected by that at all.
Trust me. Do you know what I said to myself?
That's the thing that I just can't put my finger on, that
To
you were
figure
not
it out.
affected.
Trust me, I said to myself, if this woman had the love of God in her heart, she wouldn't choose to hurt me. So I did not look at her. I looked at the sin that she's carrying in her heart.
You never, sometimes when people are trying to understand why things have happened to them,
Yes.
they sometimes put themselves in a position of blame that maybe this person did this to me because I acted in this way. Did you go through that?
Wow. I tried to figure out what I could have done to her that made her hate me so much, because that shows that she really hated me with much passion, with much hate. I tried to figure it out, and I couldn't really get to understand why.
And you never thought to put yourself in a place that maybe there must have been a misunderstanding?
Well,
Nothing at all.
I don't know, because I don't know why she chose to hate me.
It is Mahatma Gandhi who said that forgiveness is only an attribute of the strong. Weak people cannot forgive. If you were Helen Mumba, you have been set up, you have been put behind bars by a close relative, would you forgive when you find out that? Please get in touch with us on KTN at KTN Life_Style on Twitter, and make sure that your hashtag is KTN Life and Style. And if you have a moving story you want to forgive, or you have come to the place where you have been able to forgive and you would want us to hear that, our number is 22840. Text us. Let's get to know about that so that we can have you and talk about forgiveness. I want you to, Helen, I want you to speak to somebody who is at home battling either with any form of abuse. People are going through different things, probably at work, family relationships, something that you went through. What would you tell them that they need to do? How should they move forward? People who are holding on to grudges and pain.
I want to say to somebody who, so I found out that it's very difficult to forgive when I tell my friends or anybody I come across, and I tell them, they tell me about an issue they're going through, maybe the husband or the parent, and I'll tell them, learn to forgive. And I remember one lady telling me, I've had with that sermon of forgiveness for quite some time, and Helen, it's not now, it is your sermon. So I know that sometimes it's difficult, people find it so difficult to forgive. But what benefit is it for you to just put luggages in your heart, bitterness in your heart? Once you forgive somebody, your heart even feels lighter.
Is there a process? Because somebody might be saying to themselves, I want to forgive, but how do I do that?
Tell yourself, I forgive this person. Just start to speak it out and tell your mind, I forgive this person. Whatever was done to you, no matter how much it hurt you, choose to forgive. It's just a decision.
What about those who say, you know, I've tried to, I can't?
Keep trying.
And some people say, you know, okay, well, I've forgiven,
But I
but
can't
I will never forget. Is
Yeah.
it possible to forgive and not forget?
It is possible to forgive and not feel the pain, even if you see that person again, because you've forgiven and you've let go.
That does not mean that you have forgotten.
Yeah, because now I'm sharing a story of what happened to me. I haven't forgotten the story, but the pain,
The pain is gone.
it is gone. And like I said, if you forgive, your heart feels lighter. You don't have to have baggages in your heart, you know. You don't have to have sleepless nights when you think of that person. Why did they do this to me? No, tell yourself, over and over again. I forgive.
So why have you not looked for your aunt?
Because, of course, I don't know where I can get her. Yeah, I don't know.
There's nobody who can get her.
She doesn't even, I don't hear of her going home. Yeah.
All right. If she's watching you right here, you want her to know that she is forgiven.
Yeah, I forgave her, and I given her again.
That's what Helen tells us to do. She says, forgive. You may not forget, but you can release it so that the pain does not affect you. There are those who have believed that when you carry bitterness, it is like an acid on the inside of you. It does more damage to you than it does to the other people. That when you carry bitterness, it will affect you more than affect the people that you are angry with. The best thing you can do for yourself, not just for the other person, forgiveness is more healing for yourself than it is for the people who have hurt you and you carry the grudge. When you carry the burdens of life and you keep on carrying the things that people have done to you, it is your joy, it is your peace, it is your laughter that gets affected. You shorten your days. It is scripture that says that laughter is good medicine. So today, I want you to go out there, release somebody, let them know that they don't have the power over you by the pain of the things that they did to you. We will take a short break right now, and when we get back, we will be on Style My Wife.
What is it that you want me to change?
Stop dressing like me.